Steve Foster, welcome to the Power Hour Ventures podcast, where we breed a billionaire. It's been a pleasure to get to know you through the last couple of years, and we've had some great conversations in life about so many different aspects of so many different things in life. But one of the great things that I want to talk to you about today is building a business and what it's like. And we had a conversation earlier about, we dedicate our entire lives to building a business, and it might be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. We work our butt off every single day, 7 days a week, 365, and then we finally have our day in the sun, and we're an overnight success, right? Doesn't it feel like that every single time?
Every single time.
Yeah. So, and your background, tell me a little bit about your background, where you grew up, kind of where you started at, and then going into your business.
Well, that's usually a 3-pint story, but I was born in Philly, raised in Jersey, a pretty rough neighborhood, pretty rough situation. At 16, I was living in my car, but I was bound and determined to be a police officer, of all things, and so I had to stay on the straight and narrow as much as I could, and ended up making it through high school and joining the military.
Very good. What branch?
United States Air Force.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you
was a security forces member in the Air Force for 4 years, and became a police officer here in Colorado. Was a police officer for about 10 years, and then left law enforcement because I figured after winning a bunch of medals, and being in a gunfight or shooting another human being, and a number of other things I was involved in, I thought I could go earn $47,000 a year doing anything else but that. And it led me to starting my company with my partner, and we evolved that firm over overnight. 20 years later, we became the largest ethics and compliance SaaS software company in the country, the second largest in the world. And now that company merged with another firm, and we're going to IPO in sometime in next year, I think.
Congratulations.
So, thanks.
And one of the things I hear is, the discipline that you grew up with, not only in the Air Force, but then in law enforcement. I mean, did those things really transition your ability to start a company, grow a company, work with employees, work with people, because that's not an easy thing to do. Some of us are born leaders and some of us are not, right? And so do you think some of those things helped you really define your ability to lead, and grow a company?
Yes, I think all of my experiences combined helped me get to where I am today, but I think the military just offered me a place to go be safe and work hard and learn discipline. Discipline is a huge part of building a company, and focus on the mission, right? And keep the mission in front of you at all times. And so I think the military was a big part of my ability to be able to get from here to there. And I've always been grateful for that, because not a lot of kids have a ticket out of where their circumstances are, and the military can offer that.
So when you were building a company, how did you find people? Because it's always about people, right? Yes. It's always about people. How do you pick and choose your folks to surround yourself with, or put in the right spot? Or, it's a tough thing to do, right? Wait, little insight on that. What do you think?
Finding talent, a lot of what I do today is helping companies find the right talent. It was an evolutionary path for me. I started off with people who liked me and were like me, and they may not have had the skill set I needed, but they liked me enough to work at least hard enough, right? And so it was difficult at first, because you go through and you realize that talent is I don't think there's anything more important than talent in success, and how you surround yourself and who you surround yourself with from a talent perspective. And you have to live and breathe it. You have to get out there and talk to as many people as humanly possible, because you can rely on recruiters. There's nothing wrong with that. You can rely on companies to help you find talent. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I find, for me, the best talent I found was folks that I went out and found folks who were doing things that were interesting, and I built a relationship with them, and then I convinced them to come do some interesting things with me. So I think talent is about understanding how relationships work, and understanding who actually has the capability to execute and critically think, and be able to be self-reliant, and take feedback really well.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And I've always kind of said this. I pick and choose my team based upon how they respond to adversity.
Yeah.
When somebody's backed into a corner, they're going to show you exactly who they are.
100%.
And so now, if you know how that person will respond in a tough situation, and you can probably attest this in law enforcement, military, etc., but when they're backed into a corner and you know exactly how they're going to respond in a tough situation going forward. So, adversity and talent and all these different things, it's just such a confluence of so many things you have to put together, and it almost has to be perfect, to really achieve that exit or achieve that growth or whatever your metric is that you're trying to get to.
Right.
So,
it's about critical decision making at the right time. You can, I try to simplify it. It's just allocating resources, right? Synchronizing the allocation of resources. But it's really about being able to make decisions at a critical moment sometimes, and not having enough information to do that. And being okay that decision was the best decision you could make at that point in time, but at least you made one, right? You got to make a decision. And I learned in law enforcement, you got to make a decision, and you're not always going to have the information, all the information that you would like to have.
Right.
And so that gave me some level of confidence in the tech world, in the startup world, and in starting my business, that you got to make a decision. And if it's the wrong decision, if it's not a bet the company decision, then you learn from it and you grow from it and you move on. But that's really important, to be able to pull the trigger, as they say.
Right. Well, thank you for being here. Let's end on a personal note. So we were talking earlier, you're going to go to every single Jets game this year with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And you're a big Jets fan, I know that. And
huge
so,
Jets fan.
Maybe later in the year or something, if Jets are really doing well, we'll do a little something around the Jets. And,
call me if they're winning. If they're not, leave me alone.
Right. Well, thanks for being here today.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to your continued success and look forward to watching you grow and continue to thrive.
Thanks, brother.
So
appreciate
good to see
it.
you.
Alrighty.
Awesome.